Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do another inventory update. This is my mid-year update, if not like a little bit later than mid-year. If you missed my previous video, I did an update in April, towards the end of April, if you want to check that out. But also I'm going to be kind of recapping the numbers in this video just because I want to see my progression of the amount of products I have. If you're new here, hi, my name is Vivian. I'm a robotics engineer with a love for all things beauty and makeup related, and I'd love it if you liked and subscribed if you aren't already. And let's just hop into it. I am not gonna go from the amount of products I had in 2021, but I am gonna kind of give updates on my progress or my collection from January to April to now July. Let's start off with primers. I went from 7 primers at the beginning of the year, 10 primers in April, and I'm back down to 7. This is specifically because I ended up decluttering some of the Smashbox primers that they sent me. They sent me their whole range of Primerizer Plus primers, and I honestly just didn't need that many, so I ended up decluttering them, giving them to friends and family and whatnot. So I'm back down to 7. I am currently making my way through my Maybelline Master Prime primer, and I'm pretty close to being done with that. If you watch my Project Pan series at all, you'll know that I think by the end of this month, I'm going to take it out of my Project Pan, regardless if I fully finish it or not, just because it's not my favorite primer, and I feel like I've made pretty good usage out of it, and I've had it in my Project Pan for a really long time now. So hopefully by the fall update, I will have one less primer. So for foundations, I started off with 11 at the beginning of this year. In April, I brought it down to 9, and I am currently still at 9 foundations. I think that's pretty good. I think the fact that I haven't increased any is a good sign, and I know foundations take a really long time to finish up, and I also don't wear foundation like every day, so for me it's just going to take longer in general. But I am glad the number remains steady. I still have a lot that are kind of the wrong undertone, and I bought those foundation mixers, so I try to use that, but honestly sometimes I forget and then I don't match. But I'm really happy that it didn't increase at all, and I feel like just having a steady number is probably a good sign. For concealers though, I did increase a little bit from last time, but overall it decreased from the beginning of the year. So for concealer, I started out with 12 in January. In April I had 9, and now I have 11. This is mainly because of 2 concealers. One I picked up from Rare Beauty. It's the under eye brightener. There are a couple that I've received in PR or like through Skeepers, so I still have those as well. Overall, I think this is still okay. Like, it's not dramatically out of control. I know I'm working through my NYX Bare With Me Serum Concealer, which should hopefully be done by the next update for the series. For now, I think that's okay. I'm not super mad about the number of concealers I have. I think that there's a different category in here that has gotten a little bit out of control, so let's just hop into that. For powders, I went from 8 in January, 9 in April, and now I have 12. So I have increased by 4 powders throughout this last like 6 months. I know that I have gotten into a loose powder phase lately, so I picked up 3 new powders, and I also have a little mini sample size of a powder that came as like a free gift with purchase. So I think that was a little excessive. I don't think I need this many powders, but I do know powders take a really long time to finish up. I am currently working on one in my Project Pan as well. I think I just need to keep working at them and kind of refrain from buying more. I think that for the most part, these are kind of like new hyped up powders. I know powder, I don't know what happened, but powder has become like a really big guilty pleasure of mine, if that makes sense. Like, I love applying powder. I love how smooth my face looks after applying powder, and there are a lot of really good powders out there that I've wanted to try. So 12 does seem a little bit excessive. I'm going to try and work on decreasing that a little bit. I know in my Project Pan I had my Kosas Cloud Set powder, which I did hit pan on but didn't finish completely. So once I hit pan on the LYS Triple Fix powder that I have in my Project Pan right now, I think that I'm going to try and go back to the Kosas and try to use it like up fully, just to get a little bit more usage out of that and then kind of decrease the number of powders I have overall. So not the greatest, but not the absolute worst either. For bronzer, at the beginning of this year, I had 16. In April, I had 17. And in July, I also had 17. So still kind of consistent throughout the board. I have been using my e.l.f. putty bronzer in my Shop My Stash. I feel pretty close that I'm going to hit pan on it, but I haven't used up any of my bronzers yet. I have pan in 2 of my bronzers already, but again, they're not used up, and so the number just kind of stays consistent. I do like all the bronzers I have in my collection, but I just need to work my way through them. I'm pretty happy with them being consistent though, because at least I'm getting some usage out of the bronzers that I have, and I'm not increasing or overspending on the amount of bronzers, because 17 is still a lot. I feel like 17 is still a really high amount for bronzers, especially because I only have one face. I feel like that's too many bronzers, but at least it's not like overboard. At least I didn't skyrocket with the amount of bronzers I had in my collection. The next category is highlighter. At the beginning of this year, I had 10. In April, I had 12, and in July, I also had 12. So again, same kind of situation. I didn't increase any highlighters in my collection, but I haven't finished any up either. I think that's a pretty good sign. I consistently work through the different highlighters in my collection through my Shop My Stash. I always pick one out to kind of work on for a little while. So I still feel like this is kind of excessive for the amount that I use highlighter, but again, at least I'm getting pretty good usage out of that, and at least I'm rotating through the highlighters that I have. The next category is blush, and as you can probably imagine, this category did increase by a lot. At the beginning of this year, I had 24. In April, I had 28, and now I am at 34. Definitely excessive. I know there's a single blush that right now that I kind of want to declutter. I haven't decluttered it yet though, because I want to go through all of my blushes and kind of make sure that everything I have is something that I enjoy. I know one of the blushes that I have 2 shades of, which is the new Makeup by Mario. I think they're called the Blush Pops. I could be completely wrong about that. Those ones, I bought one. I thought I lost it, but I found it. But before I found it, I picked up another shade because I did want to try the formula. So that blush, I have 2, which I probably did not need to buy 2, but I did really like the formula, and so I'm gonna keep both of them. But I think for the rest of this year, I definitely have to be on a blush no-buy, because that's kind of ridiculous. And I have been working on a blush in my Project Pan. If you follow that series, you'll know that I've been working on my Rare Beauty liquid blush in the shade Joy, which has been taking a really long time to finish. I am not sure how much product is even left in that blush. I have been using it consistently for the past, I want to say at least 5 months, maybe 6. So I'm still working on them. There are very few blushes that I'm close to finishing. I think I've only hit pan on one blush, and I finished up a different blush a couple years ago when I first started my Project Pan series. But overall, that's a lot of blushes. That's probably too many for one person. I am a blushaholic though. Blush is my favorite category of makeup to apply. It's my favorite step in my makeup routine. So I do like blush. I still think 34 is maybe a bit much though. I have a lot of similar shades to each other that I probably don't need, and although I do like pretty much all of the blushes in my collection, I do think 34 is a little excessive, and so I don't know. I think maybe I need to go through them again and try to tone that down a little bit. At the very least, I am gonna stop buying blushes for the foreseeable future. I think 34 is more than enough. For face palettes, at the beginning of this year, I had 3. In April, I had 2, and I'm still at 2. I've mentioned this before, but I'm not a huge blush palette person or face palette person. I find that I tend to reach for individual compacts rather than all in one. I know that people say that face palettes are nice for traveling because you get several products in one category or one package. But honestly, I would rather pick through the different items in my collection. I don't really need to have all of them in one. So I have been pretty good about not buying any more face palettes, and I foresee myself not buying any more in the future because, again, I just really don't use them, and I'm pretty happy that I haven't bought any more. For eyeshadow palettes, at the beginning of this year I had 19, in April I had 16, and I'm at 17 now. But I don't remember purchasing a new eyeshadow palette. I think, if anything, I miscounted in April. I think I had 17 in April as well, but the number that I officially put down was 16, so technically an increase. I have been pretty good about not buying any new eyeshadows. Eyeshadow palettes don't really intrigue me that much, to be honest. I also have my No Palette Left Behind challenge. I'm having a lot of trouble just trying to reach for the palettes I have currently and meeting my goals on my No Palette Left Behind challenge anyway, so I feel like adding another palette to the mix is probably not the smartest idea. But because of that, I have been trying to make my way through my eyeshadow palettes and using those up, so I'm pretty happy with the number that I'm at right now. The next category are lip liners. At the beginning of this year, I had 13. In April, I had 12. Due to a declutter, and again I have 12, so I haven't purchased any new ones, which is a good sign. I also haven't gotten rid of any or decluttered any or finished any up either, so I'm happy that it's steady. I currently have a lip liner in my project pan right now, so hopefully next update or by the end of the year this number will decrease by a little bit. Pretty happy with where I'm at. I'm not too surprised that this number has stayed the same. Lip liners take a while, and I don't wear lip liner every day. Honestly, most days I just put on like a gloss or a balm, like a lip balm on my lips, and call it good. So I'm excited to get more use out of the lip liner that I have in my project pan right now, and I don't foresee myself picking up any new ones anytime soon. The next category is lip gloss and lip balm. This is my biggest category by far. In January, I had 29. In April, I had 32. And now I have 40. This seems a little bit wrong. I think maybe I miscounted in April. Maybe I didn't though, but there are several lip balms in my collection. I have a couple from Glossier. I have a ton of Summer Friday lip butter balms, and I have a ton of different lip oils, lip glosses that I have purchased. So 40 seems right, I guess, but that's way too many. That's too many to have in my collection right now. I'm sorry, it's really hot in my room. I'm sweating. 40 is definitely too much. I am continuing to use my lip balms and lip glosses. I had a lip balm and lip gloss in my project pan for a while. Right now I don't, because I wanted to try and get more use out of all of the lip products in my collection. Definitely need to start working on this a little bit more. I feel like 40 is definitely too much, and I'm not a person that usually loses their lip balms, and so this just seems like a lot. This seems like an unnecessary amount of lip glosses and lip balms, and I really need to work on managing that and bringing that down a little bit. For lipsticks, I feel pretty good about that. I had 15 in the beginning of the year, and now I'm at 12. Again, I don't wear lipstick like a ton, but I think the ones that I have are formulas that I really enjoy and formulas that I want to have in my collection. So even though I don't have a ton of lipsticks, they're also not getting like a ton of uses either. I'm glad that I have managed to decrease the number over the last couple years, or the last couple months. Lipstick is kind of like a boring category for me. I'm not super drawn towards any lipstick in particular, and when I wear lipstick, I feel like it has to be more of like a glam look for me. Otherwise, I usually just stick with balms or glosses. The next product category are eyeliners. I went from 13 in January, 14 in April, and I'm now back down to 13. I know that I gave my mom one of the eyeliners in my collection, and that is most likely why the number of eyeliners decreased a little bit. A lot of the eyeliners in my collection are gel liners or like wet liners that I really only reach for very specific looks, specific occasions when I want something that's more colorful. I only have 2 like liquid liners, and I haven't been wearing liquid liner in general at all lately. Lately I've been preferring more of like an eyeshadow wing instead of a dark liquid liner wing. So this number is still pretty good. I still feel consistent with the number of eyeliners I have, and I don't see myself purchasing any more liquid liners or eyeliners in general. For mascaras, I had 9 at the beginning of January, and now I'm at 12. Mascaras are kind of not the biggest deal to me just because I do get quite a few in PR. Mascaras in general don't really work for me unless they're waterproof, and a lot of the waterproof ones are like they smudge on me, and so I always have to go in with a primer. Anyway, I have a lot of mascaras that are open right now, but I try to work my way through them and declutter them periodically. I try not to have them open for longer than like a couple months at a time. There are definitely some that are longer than like 3 months or 6 months, whatever the expiration date is. But yeah, I feel like for mascaras, I do have a lot, but a lot of them don't work for me, and so I don't reach for them. And that probably means I should declutter them, but I just haven't gotten around to them yet. And I honestly, some of these are like ready to be thrown out. So I foresee that number going down relatively soon. For single shadows, I went from 15 in January, 22 in April, and now I am at 16. I did do a single shadow declutter a couple months ago. I will leave the video linked for you if you are interested in watching. I'll put it like up in the eye over here. But I think that's okay. A lot of these single shadows are like glitter toppers that I enjoy using. There are a couple of like eyeshadow sticks that I don't use as much, and there's one liquid shadow from Kosas that I still have that's probably expired at this point, but I still have it and I'm still gonna try and use it. But overall, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at with single eyeshadows. I'm glad I was able to get rid of a few of them from my shadow declutter. You know, I, again, don't think that I'm going to be purchasing a lot just because I know my preferences now, and I know that I probably won't reach for them as much. So yeah, I'm okay with the amount of progress or the amount of products I have in my collection regarding my single shadows. For brow products, I went from 16 to 13 in April, and now I'm at 15. I did declutter a couple of brow products within the past 6 months, but I've also brought in a couple. One being the like brand new Rare Beauty eyebrow pencil, which is what I have in my brows today. It's fine. I think a lot of these are like brow pencils, which I know take a little bit longer than I expect to pan, but I do have one in my project pan right now that I'm trying to work my way through. I know that I will eventually finish that brow pencil and we'll be able to get rid of that. And there are a couple of brow gels that I'm trying to work my way through too. So again, nothing like totally out of control. I think that I just need time to work through some of them. I have a lot of brow products that I really like. I could probably declutter some of the brow products I have too, just because I don't reach for them. At the very least, I don't see this category increasing by a lot either. And the last category that I just added to this is color correctors, because I went from, I think, one at the beginning of this year. I had my NYX color correcting palette. In April, I would probably say I had 2, and that's including my LA Girl or LA Color, either LA Girl or LA Color mixing pigment, the blue mixing pigment for my foundations, because I did find that a lot of my foundations were more on the orange side and I was trying to color correct that a little bit. And now I am at 5. This includes like the white color corrector that I have for lightening foundations, and I have 2 kind of lighter color correctors. I have the blue e.l.f. one, and I have another one from LA Color that's green to try and make some of my foundations more olive. So this isn't like a huge category. I don't think this category will increase a lot more. There was like an increase from the beginning of this year, so I wanted to make sure I added a category to keep track of that. These aren't really like fun products for me. They're just kind of necessities to kind of make my foundation and bases work for me. So, you know, it's not the most exciting category, but I did increase in it, and I'm hoping not to increase any more. So in total, from the beginning of this year, I had 220 products. In April, I had 230, which is an increase of 10. And now I am at 246 products, which is a lot. That's an increase of 16 from like a couple months ago. I definitely need to chill out with my makeup buying and makeup spending. I hope when this update comes around in October, at the very least, I wouldn't have gained any products. Hopefully the overall number kind of stays the same or at least decreases a little bit. I have a slight problem. For the most part, I do think my collection is manageable. I think the two categories that are probably a little bit unmanageable are my lip glosses and my blushes. But again, those are kind of my most used categories, especially for lip balms and lip glosses. I have said this before, but my lips are like perpetually dry, and so I always feel like I need a lip gloss on hand, and it's kind of nice to have just a variety of colors, shades, formulas. So definitely a little bit unmanageable right now. I'm hoping that when this update rolls around in October, those two products or those two product categories specifically will have decreased by a little bit, and at the very least, hopefully not increase. So yeah, overall, not the best. I definitely think I could work on getting rid of some of these products, or I don't know, getting more use out of them or finishing them up. Definitely need to start working on that a little bit harder, especially for those lip products and cheek products. But for now, I think it's okay. I think that overall, since I started this, my spending has definitely been cut down by a lot, and definitely with the help of my project pan, I do realize how long these products take to finish up. I am not the happiest about where my progress is at, but I definitely understand that I need to chill out. I need to start working on these products more aggressively and try finishing them up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was insightful into my collection. I know that this is a lot of items, and I know that my collection is probably much larger than the average person. I know that my collection is definitely the largest out of like all of my in-person family friends. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.